My mother-in-law told 20 guests I couldn't cook. She was right. I couldn't cook the meal she had already poisoned. I'm standing in my kitchen the morning after the worst night of my life. There's a half-eaten plate of chicken on the counter. The sauce tastes like seawater. The vegetables are so salty they burn. But I didn't do this. I have security footage on my phone that proves it. 90 seconds. That's all it took for her to sabotage everything. The question I kept asking myself was simple. Why would someone destroy a dinner party just to humiliate me? Turns out it was never about the food. Before I tell you how I caught her and what I found when I started digging, do me a favor. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Have you ever been set up to fail by someone who smiled to your face? And if this story hooks you, hit that like button so I know you're with me. Because what happened next changed everything. It started 3 weeks earlier when my husband made a request I thought was sweet. My name is Anna. I've been married to Daniel for 2 years. He comes from money. Old money. The kind that buys silence and smiles. His parents, Richard and Patricia, never said I wasn't good enough. They didn't have to. Daniel could have married anyone, Patricia told me at our rehearsal dinner. I'm sure you'll grow into the role. I'm a high school teacher. I grew up middle class. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked retail. I learned to cook from my grandmother in a tiny kitchen that smelled like garlic and love. I'm good at what I do. But I never claimed to be a chef. Still, every family dinner at their house felt like an audition I was failing. Cold smiles. Backhanded compliments. Oh, you wore that dress again? How practical. Teaching must be so rewarding. You know, emotionally, I'm also the kind of person who saves everything. Emails, texts, screenshots. I'm a teacher. Documentation has saved me more than once when a parent tried to rewrite history. I didn't know it yet, but that habit was about to save my marriage. 3 weeks ago, Daniel came home with a smile I hadn't seen in months. My parents want to do something special for their 30th anniversary, he said. They asked if we'd host the dinner. Here, they want you to cook. I stared at him. They want to get to know the real you, he said. This is your chance, Anna. Show them who you are. I wanted to believe him, so I said yes. I spent 2 weeks prepping. I tested every recipe 3 times. I ordered ingredients from specialty markets. I made lists, timelines, backup plans. I had no idea I was walking into an ambush. The night of the dinner arrived. 20 guests, extended family friends, people I'd never met. I had 4 courses planned. Salad, soup, roasted chicken with herb sauce, a berry tart for dessert. Patricia arrived early. Oh, let me help, dear, she said, sweeping into my kitchen. Cooking for a crowd is so different than a quiet Tuesday night. She tasted the soup. Needs salt, she said. I watched her add a pinch. Then another. There, much better. She moved to the sauce. Tasted it. Frowned. This too, trust me. I've been hosting dinners for 30 years. I felt my stomach tighten, but I didn't argue. She was the guest of honor. Service started at 7. The salad went out fine. People smiled. I started to relax. Then the soup. Faces changed. Guests reached for water. I saw someone push their bowl away. The main course was worse. Patricia's friend leaned over to her neighbor and whispered, "Did she even taste this?" I had. It was perfect 2 hours ago. By dessert, no one was pretending anymore. Patricia stood. "Everyone, thank you for being so polite," she said. "But I think we all know this meal was, well, inedible." She turned to Daniel. "Darling, this is why I've been concerned." The room went silent. Daniel looked at me. I couldn't read his face. "We need to have a family conversation," Patricia said. "Tomorrow, just us." I couldn't speak. I wanted to disappear. 20 people filed out of my house without meeting my eyes. I waited until midnight. Then I went downstairs and tasted the leftovers. The soup was so salty it made my throat close. The sauce was worse. It didn't taste like food. It tasted like punishment. I had tasted both before service. They were perfect. Daniel came down and found me crying at the table. "I don't understand what happened," I said. "Neither do I." His voice was flat. "My parents have never seen me fail before." He didn't say us. He said me. The next morning, Patricia and Richard arrived with a folder. Leather. Embossed. Inside was a background check. A private investigator had gone through my past, my finances, my medical history. Clipped to the front was a post-nuptial agreement. "What is this?" I asked. "Protection," Richard said. "You'll sign away any claim to family assets. It's for everyone's peace of mind." Patricia leaned forward. "You're clearly not ready for this family, Anna. But if you love Daniel, you'll do the right thing. I looked at my husband. He didn't say a word. I felt the ground fall out from under me. Maybe they were right. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I'd ruined everything. But then I remembered something. That folder was their mistake. Because I'd been keeping my own records, I thought I'd lost. Then I checked my phone. We'd installed a security camera in the kitchen 6 months earlier. After a break-in scare in the neighborhood, Daniel insisted. I pulled up the app and scrolled back to the night of the dinner. 6:47 p.m., 90 seconds before I plated the soup and sauce. Patricia walked into frame. She looked over her shoulder. Then she opened the cabinet and pulled out the salt container. Not a pinch, she poured. Half a cup into the soup, another quarter cup into the sauce. She stirred both. She wiped the spoon. She put the container back. Then she walked out. The timestamp was clear. The motion was deliberate. I watched it 3 times. My hands were shaking. I started searching. Patricia's name, Daniel's name, Reddit, forums, anywhere. I found a thread from 2 years ago. Username, Elegant Mill 2021. The post said, "Sometimes you have to protect your son from girls who fake their way in." I tested his last girlfriend with a little dinner party trial. She failed. He thanked me later. The writing style matched. The timeline matched. I pulled up Daniel's contacts and found his ex-girlfriend's number. He'd mentioned her once. Her name was Lauren. I sent her a message. "Did Patricia ever sabotage a dinner you cooked?" She replied in 10 minutes. "Oh my God. Yes, how did you know?" This wasn't about my cooking. This was a test I was never meant to pass. But why go this far? I pulled up Daniel's trust documents, and then I understood. Before I could show Daniel the footage, Patricia escalated. She sent a group text to the entire extended family. I wasn't included, but Daniel's cousin forwarded it to me. "We're so worried about Daniel. We've learned some troubling things about Anna's past. Please keep him in your prayers." My past. I'd never even had a speeding ticket. Then the calls started. Daniel's aunt, his uncle, all of them gentle, all of them concerned. "Is everything okay? Patricia mentioned you might be struggling." Struggling with what? I wanted to scream. Daniel came home quiet. "They're saying you have a history," he said. "Mental health issues you didn't tell me about?" "That's a lie." "They've never lied to me before," he said. "Maybe we rushed into this." I felt my world cracking. 2 days later, a courier arrived. Legal papers. From Patricia and Richard's family attorney. Petition for annulment. Grounds fraudulent inducement. Claiming I had concealed material facts about my mental health and financial stability. Lies. All of it. At the bottom, a handwritten note. "You have 72 hours to sign the postnup and withdraw quietly, or we file this in open court. Your choice." Richard's signature. I looked at the document. At the lies printed in legal language. At the deadline. 72 hours. Daniel was pulling away. His family was circling. My reputation was being shredded. I had 3 days. I needed something bigger than a video. I called Lauren. We met for coffee the next morning. She brought a folder of her own. "I signed an NDA 3 years ago," she said. "But I kept copies of everything." Inside were photos. A dinner party at Patricia's house. Lauren in the kitchen looking confused. Email printouts. Patricia's address at the top. "You are not suitable for my son. Accept the offer or I will make your life very difficult." A settlement agreement. $15,000. In exchange for leaving quietly and never contacting Daniel again. Lauren had been 24. Scared. She took the money. "She did the same thing to me," Lauren said. I was too afraid to fight. I hugged her. Then I asked one more question. "Did Daniel ever mention a family trust?" "Once," she said. "His parents controlled it. He said he'd get access when he turned 30 or got married. Whichever came first. Daniel had turned 30 last year. We'd married 6 months later. I went home and pulled the trust document he'd shown me during our estate planning. Clause 4.2. Beneficiary spouse must receive written parental approval. Failure to obtain approval results in distribution reversion to trusters. Trusters. Richard and Patricia. If they didn't approve me in writing, Daniel's $4.2 million share went back to them. He'd never told me that part. This was never personal. It was financial control. Now I knew exactly what to do. I didn't stop digging. I pulled corporate records for Richard's company, public filings, loan documents. What I found made everything clear. The company was failing. Had been for 2 years. They'd taken out a loan. $3.8 million. The collateral? Daniel's future trust distribution. If Daniel kept his $4.2 million and stayed married without their approval, they'd lose their collateral. The loan would be called. They'd face bankruptcy. But there was more. I found an email, forwarded by accident to Daniel's personal account months ago. He'd never opened it. The subject line, merger and engagement timeline. It was from Richard to a business partner named Gerald. Once Daniel is free, we can revisit the partnership investment and the engagement between our families. $2 million should stabilize both companies. Andrea is looking forward to reconnecting with him. Andrea, Gerald's daughter. They'd been planning to marry Daniel off to her. For a $2 million investment. That deal died when Daniel eloped with me. $4.2 million trust reversion. Plus $2 million partnership investment. $6.2 million reasons to get rid of me. They weren't protecting their son. They were protecting their bank account. I sat in the silence of that discovery for a long time. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth on the table. I used my savings, the money I'd been setting aside for a car, $1,800. I hired a family attorney. Her name was Monica. She'd been recommended by a teacher friend who'd survived a nasty divorce. I walked her through everything. The video, the Reddit post, Lauren's evidence, the trust clause, the loan, the emails. She took notes without speaking. When I finished, she looked up. "You have a harassment case," she said. "Possibly tortious interference, but you need to start with honesty. Show your husband first." I spent the next day building a binder. Tabbed sections. Timeline. Exhibits A through F. Exhibit A, kitchen security footage. Timestamp and transcript. Exhibit B, prior incident. Lauren's settlement and emails. Exhibit C, trust document, clause 4.2. Exhibit D, corporate loan records. Exhibit E, engagement timeline email. Exhibit F, annulment petition with fabricated claims highlighted. I also wrote a letter to Daniel. I kept it short. "I love you, but I won't be erased. Everything in this binder is true. I need you to see it before you make a choice. If you choose them, I'll let you go, but you deserve to know what they've done." I printed it, clipped it to the front. Then I texted him. "Can we meet tomorrow morning?" "Just us, it's important." He replied an hour later. "Okay." I didn't sleep that night. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our house and his parents' place. Neutral ground. I brought the binder. Daniel looked tired. He sat down without ordering anything. "What's this about?" he asked. I slid the binder across the table. "I need you to watch something first." I opened my phone, pulled up the security footage, handed it to him. He watched in silence. I saw the exact moment he understood. His face went pale. She did this on purpose?" "Yes. Why?" "Keep reading." He opened the binder. I walked him through it. Exhibit by exhibit. The Reddit post. Lauren's settlement. The trust clause he'd never explained to me. When he got to the loan documents, his hands started shaking. They borrowed against my trust? Yes. And this? He held up the engagement email. "They were going to marry you off for $2 million. I killed that deal when I married you." He closed the binder. For a long time he didn't speak. Then he looked at me. "I don't care about the money," he said. "I care about you." "What do you need me to do?" "I need you to see who they really are," I said. "And I need you to stand with me." He nodded. "Let's go talk to them, together, right now." We drove to his parents' house. Patricia opened the door with a smile that died when she saw my face. "We need to talk," Daniel said. We sat in their pristine living room, the binder on the coffee table between us. Daniel picked up the remote and connected his phone to their TV. "I want you to watch something," he said. The footage played. Patricia pouring salt, stirring, looking over her shoulder. Richard started to speak. Daniel held up his hand. "I'm not done." He opened the binder. Read the trust clause out loud, placed Lauren's settlement on the table, held up the engagement email. Patricia tried to laugh. "This is absurd. It was just a little test. You didn't test her," Daniel said. "You tried to erase her, and you've done it before." Richard stood. "You're being manipulated, son." I'm signing away my share of the trust," Daniel said. The room went silent. "You'll have nothing to hold over us. You can have your $4.2 million, pay off your loan, save your company, but you'll never control me again." He pulled out the cease and desist letter Monica had drafted. "If you contact Anna again, if you spread another lie, we'll file harassment charges, and I'll make sure every one of your friends knows what you did." He placed it on the table. Then he stood, took my hand, and we walked out. The door closed behind us. For the first time in 2 years, I could breathe. 6 months later, Daniel quit the family company. He took a job with a tech startup. The salary is half what he made before, but he comes home smiling. We moved to a smaller city 2 hours away. We're renting a 2-bedroom apartment with a balcony. We love it. Patricia and Richard never apologized. The trust money reverted exactly as the clause specified. Daniel's lawyer confirmed it. They used the funds to pay down their loan. Their company survived, barely. They sold off 2 properties and downsized. We heard through Daniel's cousin that they told everyone Daniel was going through a phase. We don't care. Daniel wrote them a letter 3 months ago. He said he'd be willing to rebuild a relationship if they attended family therapy and acknowledged what they'd done. They never responded. We're okay with that. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're clarity. Lauren reached out a month after the confrontation. We met for lunch. She cried. She said watching me fight back gave her permission to stop feeling ashamed. We're friends now. She's in grad school, thriving. As for me, I started a food blog. Just for fun. Recipes from my grandmother. Stories about cooking with love instead of fear. It grew faster than I expected. I started doing small catering jobs on weekends. Custom dinner parties. Intimate gatherings. Last month I got a 5-star review that said, "This food tasted like home." I framed it. Daniel and I are in therapy too. The good kind. The kind where you learn to talk to each other instead of around each other. We're stronger now. Not because we survived, but because we chose each other when it mattered. I still have the binder. It's in a file box in our closet. I'll probably never need it again, but I kept it. Because documentation matters, and truth matters. Here's what I learned. Control dressed up as love is still control, and you don't need someone else's approval to know your worth. You teach people how to treat you. I finally learned to teach clearly. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to choose between family approval and your own truth? What did you do? How did it change you? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story meant something to you, if it reminded you that you're not alone, hit that subscribe button. There are more stories coming. Real ones, hard ones. Stories about people who chose themselves. You're not alone. I promise. One last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're experiencing harassment or family manipulation, please consult a licensed attorney or therapist in your area. You deserve real support. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.